Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. I think I'd like to start this week and talk about Black Lake because it's always someplace that we can catch fish. There's so many different kinds of fish there. I was talking to my buddy Jigger Jim, and he said the bass fishing has been sort of mediocre since the beginning of season, and part of the reason for that is the weather fluctuations. But he said his advice, based on all the people he talks to in the bait shop where he works at the log cabins, he said a white spinnerbait is a color that's always really safe and really effective on the lake. He says June is the surface month. So this is the month that a lot of people start using lures on the top of the water for largemouth bass. And the reason is they're looking up. There's all kinds of stuff that comes on top of the water now, and it's a great way to fish. But here's something he really recommends. Have a two-pronged approach. In other words, one of the things, if you haven't fished bass on the surface, is that it is so much fun. It's so explosive because you not only see the action, you see the eruption on the surface, but you also can see the wake of the fish coming for it. Here's the bad part. A lot of times they miss their target. I don't know if it's a refraction of the sunlight to the water or whatever, but a lot of times they just miss it. So what do? You have another rod rigged, and Jigger Jim suggests with a Senko, that's always a really safe bait to use, a worm. And if you miss the fish when he comes up for your surface bait, cast right back in there with a worm, and a lot of times they'll take it and you'll have your fish. So that's a really, I think, a really important point. The other thing he said is folks are really doing well now with Ned baits. Now, Ned fishing is using a little tiny sinker with a little tiny bait. It's called the Ned approach, and believe it or not, it's become terribly popular with yours truly as well. It's basically the only way I fish our streams. But what people don't realize, yes, fish will hit great big things, but they also feed all the time on littler things. And so by using a Ned bait, a lot of times you can catch a lot more fish, have a lot more action, be more effective than you can with some of the bigger baits that we're used to throwing. So that's his tip for this month. We really didn't get a chance to talk about panfish, but we know that Black Lake is, if anything it's famous for crappie fishing. And there's so many thousands of crappies in this lake. Now we're past spawning time. Those fish are going to be out away from the shoreline structure, and they're going to be hanging in deeper water. And remember that Black Lake isn't all that deep. So deep water for Black Lake would be anywhere like 8 to 10 feet. But you can always go there and catch crappies. It's a wonderful place. I'm glad it's ours. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.